Hey guys, PigBenis, how's everybody doing? VRX with the D class. We're in a little area north of Megavolt Camp and south of Corinth. It's been treating me well lately. Energized crystal you can be found here. Dianthus liquid can be found here. But there's also just a complete ton of oil and Lyst, as is pretty much everywhere. I've spent a lot of my time on Eudora's side. I've not been spending that much time on Amethyra. It seems as though my hit rate and my TT return, for some reason, is much better on Eudora. Now, I'm pretty sure that there's a Narc Stone with Dianthus liquid, so there, it's a pretty good start. We're just going to blow through. I'm not going to pick these up right now. I'll do that after the video. So, yeah, it probably has something to do with the tax rate on Amethyra, since I really like to mine some LAs that have decent stuff. But I've been spending a lot of time on Eudora and looking at just different areas that I haven't been to in quite some time. In fact, probably a couple of years now. So, my whole reason behind this is that, you know, Arcadia resources are, you know, extremely low markup right now. It's tough to get. Nixarium dropped in markup, and Derulium dropped in markup. Narkup, derp. And even though Hell still has some really good resources in it, it's tough to grind Hell all the time. Energized crystal, average. That's pretty good. All right, off to a little nice start here. So yeah, I mean, there's gas and stuff in Hell still, and it's really good. But the problem is on Entropia is still, you know, the economy issue. It's tough to sell your resources. So I've been trying to deal with hitting Lyst and oil here on Calypso like I had in the past, and I was very successful at it. Another energized crystal. This turned out to be a decent run. So most of my runs, I'm obviously going to hit a claim or two. Some of them I hit just an obscene amount. This area can be good, and it could be like really bad. Just before this run, I did a quick run through here, and it was a lot of Lyst and oil. But my hit rate through this area was fairly good. So that's why I decided to do a video here. That's a narc. So how do you deal with, you know, getting Lyst and oil? You know, how do you deal with getting low TT returns? Well, you know, if you're really serious about the game and you really want to try to stay in it to win it, basically. That was corny, but it was there. I just did that. I'm sorry, guys. In it to win it. Yay! But more Dianthus liquid. That shit's like crack, man. That stuff's going for 171. There's a buyout for that. I'll get back to my point here. There's a buyout for Dianthus liquid right now for 160. You have to be careful of that. You don't always want to do the buyout. Sometimes if it's within a point or two of your selling range, you probably want to do the buyout to get that ped to keep on cycling. Here's the list. Otherwise, with Dianthus liquid, the lowest auction is generally in the low 170s. So that's 11% discrepancy. That's huge. Of course, I'm going to wait and put that on auction. I'm probably, you know, a smaller amount I'm going to put on auction for about 175%. A 15% discrepancy from the actual buyout number. So, yeah, you want to pay attention to things like that. So, to deal with Lyst claims, as I was saying, it's really all about small stacks. And it's not only Lyst. When you get, say, like a 66% return, or TT return, 60% TT return, 80%, you know, anything less than 100%, you have to try to make up your TT in some respect. Now, to do that, there's Lysterium and oil. Yeah, or oil's reared its ugly head, but the hit rate's still pretty decent. So to do that, you have to make up your ped somehow. You've lost ped on that run. Even with, you know, a 20%, 30% markup, which is very good nowadays, you're still going to lose ped. So you have to squeak out every little ped. And that's how you break even, really. Until you can, you know, continue enough breaking even or losing even just a little bit to get a HOF or or a couple globals in a row that really make up a good run. So you're like, well, you know, that's ridiculous. If I get Lyst, I get Lyst. You know, it's worth TT. It's worth 102%, but it's not. This is the thing. You have to break it down, and this is where a lot of patience comes in through mining and Entropia altogether, where a lot of people really fail because they're not getting their ped back. So if you have like 100 ingots of Lyst and it's worth 3 ped, and it is, I broke this down. So you're gonna want to sell it. You're gonna want to get more than 102%. So let's say you try selling it for 5 ped, and you can do this. People will buy small amounts. I do it. I do it with Mind Essence. I'm not gonna go and I'm not gonna buy 15-20 ped of Mind Essence. I hardly ever use this stuff. When I use it, I'm either in Foma or Hell, and it's not even all that often that I use it. Maybe a couple times a trip. So I'm not gonna put in 520 ped. You know, I could repair something with that. I could sit on that. You know, I'm not gonna buy it for, you know, I'm not gonna buy Mind Essence for 110% or whatever. I'd rather spend 150% and only buy 3 or 5 ped of Mind Essence, because I'll have that Mind Essence for months and months and months. Well, the same goes for Lysterium and oil. There's crafters out there, maybe they just want to craft a little something. Maybe it's basic filters or whatever, since that uses Lyst and oil. Maybe they just want to raise a point. Maybe they don't have a lot of ped on their card, so they don't want to overextend themselves rather. So they're going to buy small amounts. My hit rate is just absolutely amazing, although it's all turned into Lyst and oil now. So they're not going to want to extend themselves. So you have 100 ingots, 3 ped TT. I'm going to sell it for 5 ped. Now, I put it on, and it's basically 166,666 repeating, of course. So it's 167% markup. But at the same time, that's not the truth, because you have that auction fee, right? So the auction fee is 53 pek, I think, on something like that. Or it's around there, maybe like 50, 51 pek. So it's still a great markup, because it only drops it down to like 149%. You're getting 149% for Lyst. Sure, you have to wait a little while, but that's why you should have a little float on your card. Some iolite, which goes for 120, and some oil. So yeah, break down the maths. I mean, it's really simple division and just kind of figuring out. Take a look at what other people are doing in the auction house. Right now, I'm going to break down all Lyst, and believe me, I'm sitting on hundreds and hundreds of ped of Lyst and oil right now. But every day, I'm filling up the auction house, 2 full pages of these little auctions, and in between them, I'm keeping enough float on my card to keep on going, you know, to pick up the energized crystal and dianthus, because they don't sit on auction all that long. You know, neither does the iolite or narc. And I will still use that tactic for narc. I'll use it for Cumbrias. I'll use it for any resource that I'm selling on the auction. Say that iolite, I'll probably get 127%. Another good resource I should mention is Lyterian powder here on Cali. Pretty much 105%. It's basically like a list of end matter, you know what I mean? But I'm getting 113, 114%. It's certainly not ideal, but it's a lot more ideal than selling it for TT. You have to make up for losses, plain and simple. Because if you don't, you're going to end up depositing, and that's probably something that you don't want to do. It's not something you don't want. Anyway, guys, I gotta cut this short. Actually, I think I have 1 or 2 more drops, but let's see what happens. I'm gonna be removing friends from friends list. It's nothing personal. It's just we're only allowed 200 or so friends. I haven't seen a lot of people in a while. If you want to stay on there, then just shoot me an email, and we'll see you in the next vid.